Welcome to the Be Elite podcast. Today we have the student leadership team joining us, as well as the advisor, Ms. Rubio. Welcome. Ms. Rubio, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Ms. Rubio. I'm a homeschool teacher of record, and I teach student leadership.
Thank you for joining us. Now, can everybody that's part of student leadership introduce themselves as well?
Hi, I'm McKenna, and I'm a part of student leadership.
Hi, my name is Kirsten Metzler. I'm a sophomore at Elite, and I'm also part of student leadership.
My name is Zoe Calhoun, and I'm a part of student leadership.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all for introducing yourselves. So I'll start off with the first question about, so what exactly is like ASB and student leadership? Could you explain it kind of like from the teacher's point of view and also the student's point of view? So if I have like Ms. Rubio, then one of the students answer.
Sure. I'll go first. So student leadership is a group of students who have applied to be in a leadership role on campus. So I usually tell the students that they're kind of like the voice of the entire student body. So we try to make sure that we're keeping up with what other students are doing as well. So that might be like a survey on what the high school students want for prom. So it's not just our class making decisions. They're really the voice and kind of planning behind the scenes for all student activities on campus. In addition to that, they also are learning about leadership skills. We are using a book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. So we actually go through, in addition to like the jobs that they have on campus and the activities we're doing, we actually go through a lot of self-reflection and leadership qualities. So students are growing in that way as well. Zoe, do you have something?
Student leadership is like basically a student council in a way. Like we plan spirit weeks or make posters for spirit weeks. Sometimes there's jobs that students will reach out to like heads of departments, maybe like peak performance or VAPA or things like that, to kind of plan events for all students, not just like one group.
Does anybody else want to share their perspective of student leadership?
If not, then we can go on to the next question. If you guys want to, you can continue on next time.
What is it like being in the student leadership class?
What it's like being in the student leadership class is it's a lot of fun. We get to plan many different things for many different occasions, like field trips, like the prom and the middle school dance that we will be having next year. And just many things along the lines like that.
Anybody else? What's it like being in the student leadership?
I feel that being in the student leadership is very hands-on, and it allows students to participate in projects and get involved in the school community and just be a voice for the students and the teachers and bring everyone together. And so I feel like this is a very different course than normal courses like English or math or science or history. This course really allows students to get to know their talents, their individual talents, and experience new skills. And it just allows for growth because the projects that we take on in leadership aren't average projects. And so when you put a student in a new environment, it really allows them to grow. Oh, I think Zoe wanted to say something because I saw.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, sorry to put you on the spot if you didn't want to. I just.
Oh, no, yeah. I think it like kind of brings students together in the fact that not everyone has the same interests, but it kind of like allows them to have something in common while embodying their differences.
Well put. Thank you. That's a really good way to put it.
I think something that's really cool in the class too, and that's what we're trying to do, is kind of bring elite together. We are representing 8 counties and 3 academies. So the students actually are in all different academies. So they're bringing a lot of different experiences to the table and different needs of our students and what kind of activities maybe a virtual student would want or a homeschool student would want or what works for Flex. So it's really nice to have those conversations.
And well, I know Ms. Rubio, you always give us the icebreaker at the beginning and we talk for like a while. And just also everyone is different ages and groups as well. Like we are from middle school to high school, so it is quite a difference. And then I think we can go on to the next question now.
Absolutely. Katerina, go right ahead.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, thank God. Okay. So, Mrs. Rubio, what made you want to start a student leadership class at Elite?
It just kind of came about in conversation. I am new working this year at Elite. I was a high school activities director before. And then when I was in high school, I also was in ASB as well. So I have some different experiences. And I think that the leadership qualities that the skills that I learned even when I was a student, being a part of leadership and organization and running events and public speaking, really has translated into, my role as a teacher, because I have to talk to people, right? And I have to plan events and different things. And other jobs that I had while I was in college too. So I really see a lot of value in them. And I just love the idea of bringing students together in different ways and hearing what students want from our school. What do they see? So I know McKenna kind of mentioned a middle school dance that came about in conversation in class, and that's something that we're hoping to put on in fall. So really exciting things where you guys can be in charge of what you want from your school. And then I and my class get to help support you. So it just kind of came up in conversation, and I'm so glad we got the opportunity to do it. And it's been really fun this year.
I really like how you said that, you did this at a previous school, and you also were a part of this during your schooling. Yes. So you saw the importance of it. I was in my ASB as well. And the same thing, being a part of that, being a part of a team, and especially in this environment, because I like when you said you're bringing Elite together, because we all kind of live and work in silos, right? Yeah. Like we're here, we're virtual learning, but what you all are doing, you're creating these opportunities to where we get that sense of community, and we see it with the Spirit Days, and we see it with the different events. We see it with prom coming up. So I thought that was a really fantastic thing to say. So thank you again.
Yeah.
Cindy, I think you're up.
Oh, also thank you again. ESB is just wonderful. Like everything that you've been doing and everything that's happening. And I can't wait to see how prom turns out. It's coming up very soon. And my question to everyone is just like, who is your inspirations? Like, who do you look up to? Like in terms of leaderships and leaders. Oh, Ms. Rubio, do you want to start us off? And then we can go to the students.
Oh man, I don't know if I can think of a person, because there's definitely qualities that I have seen in people that I really know. Obviously, there's a lot of great leaders in history, but I think more like I see qualities in people that I admire. So, I've worked with different people who I admire the way they talk to students, right? And I'm like, wow, like they're really communicating very well, and it shows a lot of compassion, empathy, and understanding for students. That is a quality that I admire in a leader. I look at people who can remain calm under a lot of pressure, and I think, that's a quality that I admire in a leader. Someone who's organized but still is still able to get things done on time. People who show the attention to who they're serving. Equal amounts of attention, not ignoring people. So there's more qualities that kind of stand out to me that I try to take note of, and still learn from people as an adult. So I don't know if that really answered your question, because there's not like a certain person, but man, there's a lot of people that I admire, and I admire the way they carry themselves in their leadership roles.
Yeah, because I know it might be hard to look up to just one person. Like you look up to. Okay, and then, well, does anyone want to share?
Anyone have anybody in mind?
Okay.
I
Okay.
look up to my parents a lot because they do inspire me a lot. And I also look up to all the women that do sports broadcasting because I want to do what they do and show a lot more about sports and how they do it and like the roots, everything about football and sports broadcasting.
How cool. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, very interesting. And then, okay,
I look
so
up to my mom. Like a lot. She's like one of the people I really look up to because she works really hard to like be like have a business, I guess. So yeah, I look up to her, but I also like I admire many people like Miss Rubio. But I also like admire qualities of people. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And I want to pose the same question to my podcast students. Is there anybody you look up to? Anybody that inspires you? I know you weren't expecting that, but please chime in if you'd like.
I would say, I don't know. This is a very common person, but yeah, I'm going with LeBron James.
All right. Anybody
and
else?
Kirsten has
Yeah,
her
go
hand
right
raised.
ahead. I see your hand up. Go for it.
I don't necessarily have one person that I look up to. I think anyone who is living purposefully and they're like going on headstrong to live their purpose and nothing else is something that I look up to. Like anyone who does that, I would look up to them. My three main values, I would say, is service, purpose, and empathy. So if there's anyone who has that, then I would look up to them.
Wow. Yeah, I completely agree. And I love those 3 points you brought up. I mean, those absolutely embody a leader and somebody that you would want to look to. I'll throw out there, of course, everybody says their parents. My mom, I'll throw that out there. You know, she raised 5 kids on her own and she did it gracefully. And if I looked on the educational side, I have people that have shown me like how to be a leader and how not to be a leader by their actions. I have people that have led a team because they stood right there with them and worked hand in hand. And then I have seen leaders that stand above and try to talk down. So you start to see like, well, I wish I didn't have to work with this person the way they were, but they taught me that this is how I would never want to lead. And then you have the ones that are there with you that when we go and have community cleanup day, they're right there with us, pulling weeds and bagging them and getting them ready. That's a leader, because if you ought to be willing to do anything you would ask of your team, not, oh, it's beneath me. And I am very proud to say that here at Elite, we're full of great leaders. We have leaders that are ready to jump in the trenches and work and, you know, tackle the tough problems and do what's best for our students. And, you know, I've worked in education since 2002. So I've seen a lot, and I am thrilled with who we have here at Elite. And I'm so thrilled that we're fostering our youth to become these great leaders, because we don't know where you're going to end up in this life. You could end up in Rhode Island. I don't know, but you could end up making such an impact in someone's life. And that's exciting. So sorry about that. Didn't mean to hijack that.
Oh, well, any impact you make is like important, even if it's the smallest one. And what you said about not asking people things to do that you wouldn't do yourself. That's what my dad says all the time. So it reminded me of him, because he's a preacher, and so he was preaching one day, and he says sometimes that he wouldn't ask someone to do something that he wouldn't do himself. So that's what we're supposed to do. And so I see that Angelina wrote in the chat about, I'm not sure, I'll read it out for her if she wants me to share, but she said one of her inspirations is RM from BTS, because he's also a leader of the band group and has been fighting for success of this group for almost 10 years now. Oh, and I must say, he is a really good leader. And if you've seen some of the like speeches he's given for the group, it's really nice. And so for myself, my so for my inspirations and leaders, it is like Mr. Smith, of course, and then also Megan Freeman as well, because I interviewed her, and like after the interview, like she became like inspiration to me, because hearing her story and those things. So sometimes like, because one day I would like to like have my own hospital, and seeing how she like made her own school, and so I just think about like her story and like how I can also do it as well. So this is an inspiration to me as well. And then for Mr. Smith, I think it's like with the podcast, and then like usually when I do interviews like with with Miss Freeman, like I was thinking, like, what would Mr. Smith say here, and what would he do here, and like that's how I usually work out those things. So I thank you.
Well,
It's
thank
great.
you.
She's a great example of really just having like an idea and following through, and look what you can build. And I think that's also true about even the start of leadership and any other program that we have. She says yes to students. So if there's an idea, she says yes. So I think that's a wonderful answer. And Mr. Smith as well.
And,
Yeah, thank
and
you
I
for
know,
that.
especially with like the leadership interviews and how she was saying how she leads and those things. And since I became like the student lead, I was like, oh, how can I like do what she said that she does? And so those things. And I know Katerina says that she has a comment to add, so we can go into.
So I would pretty much look up to anyone who's done something to impact the world for the better. And I would also, I also have inspiration from my teachers at Elite and any teacher that I had in general. So yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. No, I think it's really important to see where we draw our inspiration from, because inspiration is all around us. We have people in our everyday lives that are making such an impact. And sometimes we don't see it until later in life. And we look back and we're like, wow, like I have a teacher, Mr. Cox. He made such an impact. I would never have become a journalist. I would never have done anything like that if he didn't, well, I was in 7th grade, tell me all about why it's important and why it matters. And I didn't think about it then. And then I graduated high school and I was like, yeah, you know, that mattered, and it still matters to me.
Okay, so my next question is, what does the student leadership class mean to all of you guys? Anyone from the student leadership can answer.
Student leadership means to me putting a lot of hard work into something you love, which is like schooling and the well-being of the students. And also you, of course, and just helping out and if they need stuff. So.
I feel that student leadership means really being aware of yourself and setting a standard as a student, because as a leader, everyone is watching you and they watch your actions and the quality of the work that you produce. And so I think it's really important to be aware of that and make sure that what you're producing is excellence, so that other students know like what is expected.
A great answer.
Student leadership means to me like a group of young people who want to make a change for the better. And it's also like it gives like basically everyone in the course like kind of a common thing that they have in just their life. Like they could come from a different background or like live in another state or whatever, and they would still have something to have in common with other peers.
All right, anybody else want to share on what it means to them?
Oh, well, Ms. Rubio, what does it mean to you?
You know, obviously, I already mentioned that I think leadership is important. Teaching qualities is important. Personally, it's just something I enjoy so much working with this class and the students. And I actually love our communication all week. So we only have class on Fridays, but we're communicating and planning and working all week together. So I am a people person. I love to collaborate and work in groups. So I just enjoy it. And it's really important to me because of the interaction I get to have with amazing students. So that's what it means to me.
Great answer. Absolutely. All right, Dom, you are up.
What ideas do you have for next year's student leadership?
I'll go first. So one thing, I will have to do some research and some planning on some new books that are inspiring, and, you know, some of that kind of assignment self-reflection. But we have been talking about some activities. One has already been mentioned also. We would love to have a middle school dance, like a back to school dance. So that's increasing another in-person activity that middle schoolers can be involved in. And then we'll still have prom in the spring. Another thing that we've been kind of trying to work out too is just some virtual hangouts that are school wide, and all 3 academies can be included. So we're still kind of brainstorming some ideas, and we would love to see more of that next year.
In future years that are coming in student leadership, I really hope that our leadership group can really grow and that our community can bond and that we can all be closer. And then I also know that in the future, we're looking forward to more leadership activities where we can learn and grow together and we can gain new skills together. And then personally for me, I really hope that I can implement, I've been slowly in my classes and in the school, I've been slowly implementing the idea of global education, because before joining the leadership role at Elite, I did, and I still am, a global ambassador and I advocate for global education. So that's something that I really hope to help other students with.
That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Would anyone like to share before we move on to the next question?
I think also just more students involved. So hopefully some students have kind of seen what's happening, and more will want to apply and take this course or take on a leadership role within the course, because we have students who have roles within the class. So they kind of have a job and they have responsibilities, or they're on a committee, like a prom committee, a planning committee for spirit weeks, for community service. So those kind of additional, exciting roles that students can take on. I just hope that continues to grow, like that was said as well, within our class and our class itself, and our whole student body is hey, I think I want to do the Monday Minute News. That looks really cool to me. And then they kind of put themselves out there to try new things.
I'm excited for the next next school year and then the next years, because student leadership is pretty new. It was started second semester. So we'll get to plan more events next year.
It's exciting. It's super exciting, right? That's awesome.
Well, I can't wait to see how it grows and how Elite grows with it, and just how it will come in the future years. Well, I hope to be a part of it in the future years. I'm getting older and older, but I hope to be there next year as well. And we can move on to the next question now. What advice would you give to people who want to join ASB or leadership in the future?
Some advice I would like to give some students if they want to join leadership next year is you want to be well-rounded, in everything, and you want to have a good speaking voice if the Monday Minute does continue for next school year. And you could also be very artsy too, because we do make lots of posters for the school, the music spirit week, and some of our high schoolers did the prom ones too, and there's many different posters that we could be doing next year too.
I think all those qualities are very great. I also think that if a student really wants to join leadership, I think you should just go for it. Don't be nervous at all. It's a new course, and the course assignments are different than your average course, and it definitely will create conditions for you to grow and learn.
My advice would be yourself and allow yourself to grow. You don't have to fake or be anything that you're not. I think that you should just allow yourself to grow in who you are and just develop a good character within leadership.
That's a great way to say it, because we want you all to be yourselves. We're not trying to make, a certain model of student. With the podcast, I don't say I want a bunch of Cindy Lou's. Cindy Lou's a fantastic interviewer. She's great. But I want individual people. I want Katerina to be Katerina. I want Dom to be Dom. So I love that you said that, because that's what makes us unique, and that's what makes us special. We don't have to fit a mold. We just get to be elite. So with that, I want to say thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us today. Ms. Rubio, thank you for bringing your group here. It's been great to learn about student leadership firsthand because we see it. We see it on social media. We see it on Parent Square. We see it everywhere. But to talk to you about it, it really meant a lot. So thank you so much for all of you joining us. We really do appreciate it. And if you're interested in joining student leadership down the road, please let your teacher know. That way they could get you all signed up and ready, because you know it's only going to get bigger and better as the years go by. Please make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. You can get notified for new episodes, new videos from Elite, all that kind of stuff. All right. Well, that's all I have. Thank you so much. And I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Take care.
Thank you.